the whiskey, as we know it, the most common whiskey of the world is the Scotch whiskey. It started from Scotland and it especially grew very popular in the 1800s where a sort of a virus attacked all grape plants and there was no wine, no brandy, so people shifted from whiskey, and since then whiskey has been the most popular alcoholic beverage of the world. So since then, Scotland has always led. But in the recent years, we have seen that other countries like USA always has been a bigger player. But the new countries, Ireland, Japan, India, have been coming on the market to play in the whiskey industry. So, what makes the difference between whiskey from country to country? Some countries will demand 3 years of aging or 12 years of aging, but the main one are the ingredients, the water, the barrels, the wood they are using to age the whiskey, and the techniques and the knowledge. So, all these contribute to make a signature for specific countries. The most popular type of whiskey of the world is a blended Scotch, of which you have the big players would be John Walker Red Label, William Grant's, J&B, Ballantine's. These are all blended Scotch. But we also see people moving towards malt whiskey and single malt whiskey, which uses only malted whiskey versus the blended Scotch, which is a mix between grain whiskey and malted. And obviously the biggest player, one of the biggest brands of the world remains Jack Daniel, which is a Tennessee whiskey, which has got a very different signature. For the one that really enjoy whiskey, it's kind of important for him to taste different categories, different types, different brand, so that he knows what he really likes. Life is too short to stick to one brand of whiskey and one category because there's so much to learn from. Whiskey is one of the fastest growing categories in Mauritius in terms of spirits. We have seen people moving from white alcohol to whiskey. They start with very affordable whiskey and then they start selecting. We had a lot of clients asking us how to taste whiskey, which whiskey should I drink, and everything. So we took into consideration all the feedbacks for the client and we came up with our own whiskey masterclass in our own academy. So there's a catalog. The client chooses which types of training he wants. He comes with friends because it's usually more fun with friends, and then he discovers different whiskey and he enjoys it and he knows which whiskey he is more apt to like. It's a self-discovery because customers, before they come in the class, they go like, oh, I drink only blended Scotch, but then they end up on a 15-year-old malt and they realize, but this is my perfect whiskey. A younger whiskey drinker, obviously 21 plus, will tend to prefer a sweeter whiskey. Bizarrely, they like Scotch grain blended whiskey, which is kind of popular. But as they age, their palate looks for more refined whiskey and they go for malt whiskey, which is sweeter. And in the malt now, they start moving from 12 years to 15 to 18. But some customers, they stick to that same category. They like 12 years, they don't like 18. It's very personal.